Hello, good evening. Hey, I'm excited to be with you all tonight while you guys are joining me. I'm going to give you a little recap. You know, the last couple weeks I've been focusing a lot on inflammation, on boosting immunity, on various types of conditions that plague us on a regular basis. So tonight will be no exception. I'm going to be focusing on a very unique and a very special herbal extract that we'll talk about. I wouldn't call it an herbal extract. It's a bark resin extract, but that's what we're going to be training tonight. And you may have seen in the caption already, tonight's information and training will be on beautiful boswellia. I'm going to talk about a very unique and special ingredient that's found in the LifeWise product called Restore. And it's one of the ingredients that I think gets forgotten a lot of. Everybody focuses on the curcumin, or now that we've announced that it has PEA, and you read the clinical studies on PEA, and everybody gets really excited about PEA. But I'm going to show you some studies in science tonight on boswellia that's going to blow your mind. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes here for everyone to join us. So yes, tonight we are going to be getting the good stuff. Hello, Sandra Vaughn. Thanks for joining us. Janet Woodward was the very first one again. Tina, how you doing? Good to see you. I see you here anyway. But we chat a lot and message each other a lot on Facebook Messenger and whatnot. Rob, thanks for watching. My brother, my partner. Lynn Baldwin, Valerie, good to have you here. Ginger Burns, you're so active on social media. I love reading your posts. I think you do 1 or 2 posts a day and they're always excellent. Thanks for joining me tonight. So yeah, we've got some exciting things we're going to go over. Again, the topic for In the Lab tonight is beautiful boswellia. I'm Tracy Gibbs, Chief Science Officer for LifeWise. And I can't wait to share with you the information. I've got 3 pages of notes tonight, but I think I'm going to get through it fairly fast. We'll still keep it down to within 30 minutes. I know, on the East Coast especially, it's late for you guys out there, so don't want to take too much of your time. Well, let's get started. Tonight, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about one of the kind of, I'm not going to say forgotten, but one of the less praised or less mentioned active ingredients in the LifeWise Restore. And by the way, I believe all of you have had a chance to see this now. This is our new packaging. There will be 4 blister cards inside of this box. Each one of them contains 15 capsules of Restore. So for a total of 60 capsules, and we'll actually get talking about doses and usage of this a little bit later in the presentation today. But right on the back of this box, it's got the major actives. And by the way, it's not just the major active. These are basically all of the actives in this product, and they're at a great quantity. You can also see down here, there are no fillers, flow agents, additives, anything like that. We have in this product the active ingredients and then the ingredients necessary to encapsulate them into a liposome, because this is a special liposome delivery. You see our little liposome right down there. It's a clinically proven product, and I'm going to give you some of the studies information tonight. But we're going to talk specifically about this guy. Everybody knows PEA. We've been talking, it's all over social media now, thanks to you guys. PEA is a wonderful bioactive molecule that I've already done a training on. You'll have to go back and try to find that. And then the various types of curcumin that we're using, the green and the red curcumins. And then we've got this wonderful boswellia or boswellic acids that we'll talk about tonight. So put on your thinking caps, get out your notebooks, pencils, pens, whatever. We're going to dive right into this, all right? So boswellia, and specifically there, by the way, boswellia is a tree that is indigenous to India, Northern Africa, the Saudi Peninsula, the Middle Eastern countries. There are, I think, 40 some odd species of boswellia, and most of those you can get the boswellic acids from, which, by the way, they harvest the resin of the bark. So you can poke a hole in the tree, or you can peel the bark off, and extract the resin from that. And it's that sticky resin that hardens as it dries, where you get what everybody knows boswellia for, is what we call frankincense. It's a aromatic resin that's had literally well over 1,000 years of documented use in Ayurvedic medicine and in Middle Eastern medicine and in African medicine, because that's where it was indigenous from. In the mid-1800s, it was actually considered right up there with saffron and other very expensive spices as some of the world's most expensive spices. And of course, especially in the 17th and 18th century, it was highly sought after among the European nations due to it being mentioned in the Bible. And so holy men would seek after it because they thought if they had some frankincense resin in their churches or something, it would somehow bring them closer to Christ, because it was mentioned in the Bible as being one of the gifts that Jesus Christ was given by the wise men from the Middle East, or from the Far East is what the Bible says. So there's your little history lesson on boswellia. But of the 40 some odd species, we're going to be specifically talking about one of those species tonight, and that's the Boswellia serrata. It is the most harvested and the most common of the Boswellia species, and so it's the most proliferated. But that's not why we use an extract from Boswellia serrata. There is a special type of boswellic acid, which I'll talk about later, that is higher in Boswellia serrata than other forms of Boswellia. And not just that, we have a very specific supplier of a specific type of Boswellia serrata that has higher than any other Boswellia serrata out there. Even, in fact, it contains almost 40% boswellic acids, or of this particular type of boswellic acid. So maybe we'll just go ahead and get into that right now. As I've already mentioned, the active ingredient found in Boswellia serrata are known as boswellic acids. And there's 4 major boswellic acids. And each and every one of those boswellic acids has anti-inflammatory properties. In fact, they are so well recognized as anti-inflammatory properties that, for example, famous integrative practitioners like Dr. Axe, Dr. Mendenhall, some of these other physicians have compared it directly and have done peer-reviewed studies and whatnot showing that it's directly in comparison to the anti-inflammatories such as our common pain relievers, the NSAID, the pain relievers known as aspirin, ibuprofen, naproxen, things like that. It works just as effective as those at reducing inflammation and pain. Now, what these boswellic acids do, if you want to get scientific into it, is there's an inflammation marker in our body known as leukotrienes. And leukotrienes are they're healthy. I mean, your own body produces them in response to things that shouldn't be in your body, right? But what can happen is your body can overproduce leukotrienes, and leukotrienes, an overproduction of that would signal an overstimulation of white blood cells, certain types of white blood cells known as leukocytes. And that can cause your body to begin to attack itself. In fact, it's literally what autoimmune diseases mean. And so one of the major factors of autoimmune disorders is a high concentration of leukotrienes in the body. And boswellic acids, all 4 boswellic acids have been shown to reduce leukotrienes to certain extents. But of those 4, there is one particular type of boswellic acid, and it's known as AKBA. Hold on, I'm going to sound it out for you. Acetyl 11 keto beta boswellic acid. Okay? Just remember AKBA. Unless you're, again, super science geek nerd out there, I'll do it again. Acetyl 11 keto beta boswellic acid, okay? Otherwise known as AKBA. Of those 4, AKBA has been shown to be the most effective reducer of leukotrienes, or modulator, I guess, of leukotrienes, if you want to put it politically correct for the FDA, because boswellic acids are considered dietary supplements, and I guess you technically can't make medical claims regarding them. But either way, studies have shown that AKBA is the strongest, up to 4 or 5 times stronger than all of the other types of boswellic acids out there. So just because you might see a product say, hey, we've got boswellic acids, well, whoop-de-doo. You know, do they have AKBA? Do they have the strongest form of boswellic acid out there? And not just that. You guys know how picky I am with my raw material suppliers, with who I buy from, where I buy from, when it was harvested. The raw material supplier that I chose for our particular type of AKBA, not only do they sustainably harvest, in fact, I'm just going to read what they do. They not only sustainably harvest it, here it's on my notes, but they also do HPLC testing on it for the active percentage of AKBA, and their testing has shown that their resin extraction has 40% of the AKBA in it, which is unheard of. In fact, when I was searching for AKBA boswellic resins, the highest I've ever come across was like 3%, 4%. I believe there was one company out of China that claimed to have like 10%. But you can't believe a lot of what comes out of China, unfortunately. And we don't have great ways of testing, particularly for AKBA, so I didn't even look at them. But this particular company out of India, which is where Boswellia serrata is mostly grown, and then with labs here in the United States, did HPLC testing on theirs showing 40%. So again, you're talking multiple times more AKBA than any other company out there, and they sustainably harvest it from the wild. This is not tree farm, frankincense tree farm grows stuff where, you know, who knows what they're putting in the soils to propagate or enhance the growth of the tree. This particular company sustainably wild harvests their form. Now, yes, their form of boswellic acid that we use in this product, in this little tiny capsule here, is like 3 times higher than what you're going to find out there on the market. But I hope you guys don't think that our product is overly priced. You know, it's 49 bucks. But if you've experienced the benefits of this, 49 bucks is a drop in the bucket for pain relief. I'll get to my personal story and experience later. But just know that the ingredients we have in this product are second to none. And yes, they cost a heck of a lot more, but you just can't find these ingredients anywhere combined except in this product, all right? Now, let's get to some of the human clinical studies that have been done on our specific AKBA 40%, boswellic acid. In 2011, Molecular Medicine Reports published a clinical study on our specific type of boswellia, and they found not only the safety and efficacy, but they did a 54 human clinical study where they compared it to a well-known prescription brand of COX-2 inhibitor. And I was told when I quote this study that I probably shouldn't name the COX-2 inhibitor. But again, that's also an anti-inflammatory, and you will know the prescription drug if I told it to you. But they found that 500 milligrams of this boswellic acid administered twice a day was more successful at reducing inflammation markers than the prescription dose of the COX-2 inhibitor. That's pretty cool when you think about inflammation and pain and all that stuff. So when I look at that study, and then now you have to remember that was just on this trademark BOSS 10, this boswellic acid, which is 40% AKBA boswellic acid. And then we combine that with curcumin, a liposomal curcumin. We combine that with PEA. We have this amazing trifecta of active ingredients in this product that If you asked me and we were to do clinical studies on it, which eventually when LifeWise gets big enough, we will do that because I demand that. Yes, I think you're going to see a huge difference over and above and beyond what I just read to you. Now, the doses that I take when I take Restore, and I guess let me tell you a little bit about why I take Restore. I have several areas of my body that are painful. And a lot of you don't know it and don't see it unless, you know, Rob and I have talked about it before as we're sitting in the jacuzzi talking about how big LifeWise is going to get. I've shared some things with him. Some of them are visual and some are not. You guys have all seen me when I do my lectures here. You see this little problem finger right here. Yeah, I broke this finger. It causes a little bit of arthritic pain. It never healed properly because it wasn't set properly. Again, you know, doctors, boy, you know, and it's not like you can sue them or anything because it's just pointless. They're so protected, you know. But either way, that's a problem finger. But then secondly, I don't know if you guys can see this little tendon right in the middle of my hand here. This is called Dupuytren's syndrome, and it's uncommon, but it's more common among males who have Nordic descent. And yes, I'm like 90. When I did 23andMe, I'm like 98% Norwegian. When I say Norwegian, that includes the UK and Scotland, which is where my ancestors are from, in Wales, right? Because the Nordic tribes invaded, and that's, you know, if you know anything about the history of the Saxons and the Nordic tribes and everything in England, that's my descendants, all right? And I can prove it without 23andMe because I have this syndrome, which is only found in Nordic males. It's just starting in this hand too, but it's quite painful to extend my hands flat like this. Now, I'm still in very early stages. As I age, it will pull my fingers in eventually. There's no cure for it. But I want to tell you, for the last 4 or 5 years, I have been taking DMSO and various types of anti-inflammatory liquids, and I massage them into my hand at night, and I also get one of the little electric massagers to try to loosen up this tendon because it's tight. It literally feels like a cable in my hand, and eventually it will continue to tighten and pull my fingers down to where when I'm an old man, I guess my fingers will look like this. That's what doctors say. Anyway, there's no cure. But my personal story to you tonight is I've been taking 2 Restore in the morning and 2 in the evening, not just for my knees and my hips, which, you know, that to me is not a super big deal. I play basketball, I hike, I do things like that, and I'm almost 54 years old. And so feeling pain in aches and joints and having chronic inflammation down there is a normal thing. I take 2 and 2, yes, for that, but I also take it because I noticed when I started doing 2 and 2 that this tendon started loosening up. There was a time, you guys, just 6 months ago when I put my hands together, they were like this. I couldn't get my hands like this. In fact, that's one of the tests to see if you're in advanced stages is they'll ink your hand and then they have you place your hand flat on a flat surface. And if you can get a full handprint on that flat surface, you're in beginning stages of this syndrome. I couldn't get a full handprint 6 months ago. I can get a full handprint today. And this is a syndrome that doctors say there is no reversal of, that it only gets worse as you age. So that's my personal story and my personal experience. And by the way, I forgot to tell you, I have only been doing the Restore 2 in the morning and 2 at night. I stopped doing the DMSO rubs and all these other rubs like almost a year ago because number one, it stinks. It would make my hands sticky before bedtime. I hated it. It was literally 30 minutes of massaging that stuff into my hand and it was a pain in the butt. Now it's, well, a pain in the hand. Now it's easier for me to just take 2 of these in the morning and 2 in the evening. And I'm noticing huge differences in my hand's flexibility. In fact, I haven't even had an increase in the tightness of this hand, although you can see the same little tight band right there on my hand. So I know that this product works. I know that whatever causes this syndrome, that's causing this band to be tight, is being assisted because of my consumption of Restore. That's my personal testimony. It's not a medical claim, all right? But if people out there have this syndrome and they want to talk to me, you bet. Reach out to me and give me a call. So this product was formulated for a very specific reason. So people ask me all the time, well, how should I use Restore? There's 60 capsules in this box. It says it right here, okay? In order to know how to use Restore, you should understand the difference between chronic inflammation and acute inflammation, because chronic inflammation is what pretty much everybody has after age 32 to 35. It's that, you know, when you've been sitting for a while and you sit up and you're feeling achy and stiffy, or you get out of bed in the morning and you kind of give that old man grunt, you know, as you're getting out of bed. That general stiffness or achiness as you age, that's chronic inflammation, and almost everybody has it. Chronic inflammation is not good, though. It literally is what will begin to shut down your organs as you age. It's the major cause of all the autoimmune diseases and disorders out there. And chronic inflammation is really the silent killer. It's the cause of heart disease, arterial sclerosis, tons and tons of disorders, all right? When we're talking just chronic inflammation, that's what, 60 capsules a month, so 2 capsules a day, is going to be sufficient for you. But acute inflammation is like, I don't care if you're a 10-year-old, new football player on your city league, or if you're an 80-year-old, woman who fell down the stairs and broke her hip. Acute inflammation is from an injury, all right? And that's where you experience the sharp pains, the pains that make you want to go to the doctor, the pains that make you want to be on certain pain reliever prescription medications. If you've got acute pain, then you're going to want to double or triple the dose of this product. In fact, I had my mom on 8 of these a day at one time. My mom has had, double hip replacement, sciatica pain and things like that going on with her. And it was my suggestion to my mother that she take 6 to 8 of these a day. And so kind of look at your levels of pain, and that's how I would use this product. We all have chronic inflammation, which 2 to 4 capsules a day is going to be sufficient for. But if you've got acute pain, again, use your best judgment. Now, the cool thing about this combination of ingredients is they've already done safety studies up to 500 times this dose, okay? So you could literally take 500 capsules. You might get a little stomach ache or something, but again, it's been shown to be safe. There was no increase in liver ALT levels. There was no fluctuation in CBC blood markers or anything relating to toxicity whatsoever at 500 times a dose. So safety is not an issue. I'm looking more at monetary reasons and efficacy. If 6 to 8 capsules a day is the equivalent of some of these, 500 milligrams is only 2 capsules a day, some of the equivalent to like a COX-2 inhibitor and whatnot, then 6 to 8 should do the job for most types of acute pain. But again, that's not medical advice. I'm just saying use at your own discretion and use as needed. The dietary supplements have a recommended dosage. There is no, don't deviate from this dose or you're going to die or have some side effect or something. That's not the case with these products. So I've taken enough of your time tonight. I hope you learned about one of the more obscure ingredients here. Among these 4 ingredients on the back of our wonderful product, Restore. Now you guys will also be able to talk intelligently about boswellic acids and why our boswellic acid, which is the particular type of boswellic acid known as AKBA, is more effective, and we have a more potent dose than any other brand out there, period, hands down. All right, thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Be sure to join me next week in the lab once again. And I will also be giving updates. I know many of you are participating in the challenge. I shouted out about, hey, the sweater back there, I'm going to be giving away sweaters to those who bring on 4 people during the month of November. And the reason why I say 4 is because this is the time, you guys, to meet and rub shoulders with your family and your friends as you're planning your Thanksgiving dinner and all that stuff. It should be easy to talk to your friends and family about Shield, the immune modulating product we have, and about LifeWise. Come on, who doesn't have some aches and pains, and who doesn't need some immune boosting and immune supporting this time of year? So 4 shouldn't be difficult. In fact, many of you have gotten well above and beyond that in past months, so I know it can be done. All right, so 4 new AutoShip members this month, and you're gonna earn one of these cool sweaters. I should have worn it today, but it's a little, today was warm, 64 some odd degrees in Salt Lake City, warm for Salt Lake City. And so I wore my little LifeWise t-shirt. If you wanna get one of these from me, just shoot me a message. I can send them out. I've got quite a few. Thanks for participating tonight. Hope to see you next week. You all have a good evening. Bye.